Hello everyone, welcome and welcome back to my channel. This is Hazel Lucia Tarot. I'm Stephanie and today we're doing your reading on predictions for Year of the Fire Horse. We're going to see what Year of the Fire Horse has in store for you. The Year of the Fire Horse begins February 17th of 2026 to I think February 5th of 2027. So it's a little bit under a year that we're going to be experiencing this exciting year. And I'm really excited because I myself am a horse as well. So Year of my horse babies, give me a shout out in the comments below. We have 4 piles here for you today. We have pile 1, this hematite quartz or fire quartz with the Knight of Swords. Pile 2, we have this amethyst with the Knight of Cups. Pile 3, we have a raw emerald with the Knight of Pentacles. And pile 4, we have a red calcite with the Knight of Wands. So take a few deep breaths, think about your Chinese or Lunar New Year, and I'll be ready for your reading whenever you are. Hello there, pile 1. If you chose this hematite quartz, then we have your reading here for you for your Year of the Horse predictions. We're going to see what the Year of Horse has in store for you. You've got the Knight of Swords, which is the Knight of Air in this tarot deck. And I chose them all because they have horse imagery, which are the knights, of course. Interestingly, it also has the number 6 on this, and I never realized that until just now. And it is the year 2026, and the last year of the horse was, Year of the Fire Horse specifically, was 1966, because all fire years will end in a 6 or a 7. So, not 6, 7 coming through. Let's just go ahead and get into your oracles, and we're going to get into the tarot to see more specifically how it's going to affect several areas of your life. So we have Mengpo, memory. We have Luhan, devotion. Ooh. And Sedna, death. It's going to be a really intense and or transformative year for you. And by intense, I don't mean anything bad. It's more like there's something about going deep into yourself here and understanding, well, an appreciation for your past, especially when it comes to like your family, your upbringing, your heritage, your culture, but also the past that you have had with people. Whether this is like past loved ones, past relationships, past friends, there's going to be a sense of like feeling a sense of community by tapping into the past somehow. We also have stop. We have connection, 43, and tobacco offering. Interesting. So I do get the sense that you're going to be, because I'm getting a sense of family connection, maybe friends as well, people that you've known for a long time, or people that you feel that you've known for a long time if you haven't. Because there's a deep appreciation for where you have gotten and the people who have gotten you there. Which makes sense with horse, Year of the Horse, because they tend to be very social creatures. I say this as Year of the Horse myself, and I know a lot of Year of the Horse people as well, both in my family and in my friends, and in people I've dated. So there's this sense here that you're going to appreciate the community you have, or even the community you once had. And there's something about either older people, like your elders, or your friends, if you've been friends with them for a long time. I'm not sure why that is. There's an appreciation for that here. With offering, you could be doing something to offer your respects or your gratitude. And with connection, I do get the feeling that you will be, it's almost like you're going to make it a point to deepen these connections this year. You're going to make it a point to spend more time with friends, family, and not just because of, reasons. I feel like even without reason, you may want to just hang out with them. It's kind of like, it's that feeling of knowing that you won't always have them forever. Like you won't always have them around. It's kind of like when you know your grandparents or parents are aging. So you would just make it a point to spend more time with them for the heck of it. It's like without reason. It's like there doesn't need to be a reason to do this. That's why I'm getting the stop here, because it's almost like you're stopping to contemplate. When you're driving and you stop at a stop sign and it's to pause and look, every single way, make sure that there's no cars coming, there's no pedestrians. It's the same feeling. Like you stop to take everything in and realize that this moment in time that you have won't be forever. So you're really making it a point to spend time with the people you care the most about, specifically not just to spend time with them, but to also gain something from it. You know, maybe you want to get to know them a little bit more. Maybe you want to understand why, you know, certain things have panned out the way they have. If it's not possible to do so, like for example, let's say these are people who have passed on, or maybe family that you don't really keep in contact with for your own sake here. This could also mean that you just kind of reflect upon why things have become the way they were. Because for this pile, regardless of your age, you're feeling very nostalgic, but with a sense of purpose. It's giving strong Capricorn energy because they tend to have this, but also Cancer. A respect for the past, a respect for the family, a respect for friends who have been there a long time, and for those who have done so much for you. I really like this, and I kind of wasn't expecting this kind of energy, especially with the Knight of Swords here, because Knight of Swords energy in general tends to be very in the mind. It's very mercurial energy, you know, you're in your head. So I feel like you've been thinking a lot about the past or a lot about the people around you. It's very sweet energy, actually. I really like this. So yeah, for this pile specifically, nostalgia is going to hit pretty hard. So let's go ahead and get into the tarot. And I'm using a different tarot deck because I was called to it, and because I want a smaller deck to be able to show everything. So the first section is going to be your general, second is going to be love relationships, and third is going to be career, money-wise. And I don't know if I want to do a fourth yet. Let's just see how it goes. So for my pile 1, how is Year of the Horse going to affect them? So in general, well, let's call this your self-development instead of just general. Oh, okay, there we go. And I got a card as soon as I said that. We have the 9 of Swords. For those of you who have this, and it's just saying that we get fire Pokemon because it is a fire year. There's going to be something that stirs within you because you're tired of feeling anxious or tired of worrying about something so much. So I do feel like you get a call to action, because what it says here is what you resist persists. So you're tired of resisting something and you're just going to go ahead and do something about it. So this could be more advice if this isn't something you already do. But I see that instead of sitting around worrying about your, you know, your circumstances or whatever is going on, it could be anything. I just feel like if you tend to worry or get anxious very easily in general, you're going to start doing something about it, whether it's, you know, going out for a walk or exercising just to, you know, release it from your body, whether it's creating something like literally becoming creative, like creating art or creating a statement with something that you create physically to release what you're feeling, or even creating content for those of you who do that. I feel like there's something here where you're no longer just going to sit still and watch idly by. You're going to do something about it. And that makes sense because Year of Horse tends to be very action oriented. I say this as somebody who is. Not only that, but fire kind of has of a dramatic flair to it. Much like the fire signs in Western astrology and Eastern astrology, it's kind of like a showsmanship. It's going to be a dramatic year for sure. Great time for releasing anything that is artistic, like music-wise, theater-wise. It's a great year for that. And of course, think avant-garde. Very avant-garde people tend to be born in that year, or people who are just very, it's a show must go on. So instead of like just sitting with your feelings, you're actually going to be doing something about it and letting the world know. Not because you feel the need to shout it from the rooftops, or maybe you do. Maybe at this point you're kind of like tired of holding it in, but it's more like you feel that it is healthy to release this rather than to keep it in. You have the Fool. You're going to start a lot of new journeys as well. I feel like you're going to take up something new that you haven't before. Some of you could be called to pile 2 because this color scheme kind of reminds me of that. Also, Slowbro is a water Pokemon, water psychic. So maybe some of you are called to pile 2, but you're going to start a lot of new things this year. The Fool is like stepping into something that you've never done before, but not being afraid of it. You know when something calls to you that even if you know nothing about it, you feel comfortable in the fact that you're at least going towards it and giving it a shot? That's the energy I'm feeling here. That's what I'm getting for a lot of you. We have the Hermit. That said, it's also going to be kind of not a solitary year, but definitely very independent for you. Like I said, you are keeping your loved ones close to you, but you're also very independent. And that, I know that may sound contradictory, but again, that's a very horse-like trait. I'm very independent. I will do everything and anything by myself, but I still care about my friends and family. And I can even become a little codependent with the people I'm like the most attached to. But yeah, that's kind of the same feeling I'm getting, where you could be very independent when it comes to your own progress, internal progress. And Three of Pentacles reversed, you might resist in having to work with people. You might be very insistent, almost hyper independent this year, especially if you're not typically that way, on doing things on your own. But Spirit is asking you to let the right people in. And I know that's easier said than done. So your sense of discernment could be something that needs help, or it could amp up this year as well. Because your nervous system, I do feel like this is what this is talking about. Your nervous system, the Fool, the Hermit, the Nine of Swords, is going to undergo this kind of a recalibration, let's call it that, where you are able to assess who is good for you and who isn't, who is, you know, good for your nerves, who calms you and who doesn't. I literally had this the other night. It was one of those weird nights where I was texting several people at once. I usually don't, because I'm not that communicative, but and I was noticing the conversations I was having with like the toxic people versus the people who are like beautiful, pure souls, because it was just the conversations were so wildly different. I felt like a different person. Not only that, but energetically, I could feel being drained by one person, and I could feel being like mutually what's the word? I guess not drained, but mutually filled up with light. Let's put it that way, with other conversations, you know? That's kind of the feeling I'm getting, where you're discerning who is, and being very selective for a good reason, especially when it comes to things like dating. For those of you who are single, it's like, who do you feel comfortable around? Who do you feel, and not just comfortable, but who do you feel at ease around? So, or even family and friends. So your discernment is amping up. So with that said, let's move on to relationships, love and relationships. This could be platonic or romantic or familial, whichever applies here. We have the King of Wands, sorry, the Knight of Wands reversed. Interesting. We have the Ten of Pentacles. You're really not here for hit it and quit it kind of energy for those of you who are dating. And even those of you who are more with friendships. You know how there's certain friends who only want you around for like the party time, the good time, for, you know, going out. But when it comes to like the real nitty-gritty stuff, like when you need help moving out of your apartment or house or whatever, they're not there for you. You're here for people who are ride or die. You are here for people who want to grow with you, who are there long term. And I feel this goes for anything, including family, because some family can be flaky. So I feel like if anyone has kind of been very wishy-washy with you, you're not really dealing with them anymore. Or if they're unreliable, you're not really wanting to be around them. And of course, we have the word maturation here. So some of you could literally be going through a maturation process. I see this the most, and this is an example. Like when people have kids, once they start having children, certain friends, they can get on board with that. You know, they're very responsible. They know how to take care of small ones. So hanging around them is fine. But then there's those friends who like want nothing to do with it because they don't, you know, they don't have kids, or they don't understand, or they feel like, you know, it's that kind of situation. And I feel like some of you are being discerning this year for a reason. I feel like you're stepping into a new era of your life. Some of you could be going, for example, through a Saturn return, or you could be entering like a new decade of your life, and maybe that's a whole thing. But it definitely feels like you're going through a maturation process this year. You also have the Nine of Cups. Beautiful. I do feel like you're going to be getting something you've been wanting for a long time. So this could be like the ideal relationship or an ideal friendship. Or for those of you who have been trying to conceive, because I did bring up parenthood here, maybe this is the year that you get pregnant. Because the Nine of Cups is the fulfillment, a sense of emotional fulfillment, which can be by yourself, of course, but here in the love and relationship section, I do feel like you get something you've always wanted with somebody. For some of you, this could be like taking it to the next stage in your relationship if you've been dating for a while. Like getting engaged. I've also keep hearing that it's going to be a great year to get married. I think I said that back in my 2026 love predictions, or the general, but I keep hearing it's a great year for a marriage, specifically like a nice wedding. Like if you want a nice wedding, this is a great year for it. And that's not to say to push that if that's not what you want, but just in case anybody needed confirmation of that, this is that year, as well next year. But for some reason this year is coming through a little bit more strongly, at least for my viewers. We also have the Nine of Wands. Ooh, you are standing up for people you truly care about. This is definitely going to be a year that tests your relationships in both good and positive ways, because whatever you lose is worth losing and whatever you keep is worth keeping. So, and you could take that to any other aspect of your life. It doesn't necessarily just have to be love relationships, friendships, or family. It could even be like in the workplace, you know, which people are just your coworkers and which people are truly your friends. It's kind of giving that. But there's a huge sense of discernment for you here, pile 1. All right, let's move on to your career and finances. Speaking of coworkers. All right, we have the Queen of Wands reversed. I know I said it's a great year for like drama, flash, and substance, or maybe lack of, but not in the workplace. In the workplace, somebody's going to go power hungry and it's not going to end well for them. Hopefully it's not you. It could be somebody around you. We have the 8 of Wands as well. It's going to be a very quick work year, but in a good way. It's like you either make money quick or the year goes by fast so you don't feel like you've been working forever, or it could even just be a fun year because it's got Sonic the Hedgehog and much like Mario, a lot of characters back from... Think of any video game where like money spills on the floor or there's money on the floor and you walk through it quickly and you pick it up really quickly. It's going to feel like that for your finances. So there could be like a lot of great opportunities to make like really quick money, but it could only be like maybe every once in a while. And for some of you, you could literally be getting a raise, or it could just be really easy to come into money if you keep up the work ethic here. Okay, and these 3. I'm just going to take these 3. We have the 7 of Pentacles reversed. Yeah, you're not working too hard. King of Cups reversed. And the Page of Swords. You're going to have a lot of interesting characters in the workplace for sure. Because the King of Cups reversed, if this is you no longer caring about the workplace. This is you, like, your heart is no longer in it. You're just there for the money. Which I think happens to everybody every now and then when they burn out of their work, of their time, whatever it is that they do for a living, they just burn out. Because the 7 of Pentacles reversed, it's also like you not wanting to put in any more effort into something. And the Page of Swords is kind of like a yearning for something new. So some of you could be making good money this year, but maybe a specific higher up figure, or maybe if it's not a higher up, it could be somebody outside the workplace who is kind of like really pushing you to either make money or to make certain career or financial decisions. It's almost like you don't really care about the workplace anymore. You need some sort of new mental stimulation. You're going to feel the stagnancy at work, even though you're making good money. So you may stay there for a little bit longer, or it may be a great year to take up like a new, like some new sort of training or a new field of studies to find yourself something else. So I do see that for a lot of you. It's a great year to start learning, or at the very least to dive passionately into something that you've been wanting to do for a long time. So let's say you've always been interested in, I don't know, architecture. Maybe you decide to learn that, or maybe you've always wanted to, I'm trying to think of fields that would really appeal to you, but I feel like it's going to be very different for everybody else. But you could find a good job or a new way of making a living through that. Because that's what I'm hearing, making a living, not even the money, not even the job. What do you want to do to make a living? It could be agriculture, and maybe you decide to grow a lot of your food, a lot of your crops here. That way you don't have to worry so much about food. Something along those lines. But yeah, really interesting year for you, pile 1. Let's go ahead and move on to your closing cards, your closing advice. So we have the reflections deck. I did not have it out in time, sorry. For my pile 1. I'm also getting the sense that a lot of you might be doing a 180 in your life. Like, if whatever you're doing right now, don't be surprised if you're doing the complete opposite by the end of the year. It's going to be a year of intensity, and with intensity, I'm getting like Pluto energy or Scorpio energy, where it's a dramatic change in your life. We have slow down. So this could be a year for you to slow down and enjoy life, like truly enjoy it for what it is. But at the same time, there's going to be a lot of like fast-paced things that happen. So even in slowing down, you're not going to be bored. You're not going to be left behind. I feel like things could speed up for you so you can slow down. And we have, a thought has no power. You have power. And when you identify and believe in the thought, you give it power. And I feel like that goes with that Nine of Swords energy, where like you are no longer allowing your thoughts, specifically your negative, intrusive, or catastrophic thoughts, to have any more power over you. It's like you shake yourself up and it's like, nope, that's just a thought, and I'm going to do something about it to release that thought, or to assure myself that that thought has no power over me or my life. So I really love this, pile one. You're breaking patterns this year. It's going to be very transformative. But with that said, thank you so much for letting me read for you. If you feel like doing so, you can like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next reading. Take care. Hello there, pile two. If you chose the Amethyst and the Knight of Cups, then we have a reading here for you for your Year of the Fire Horse predictions. You're going to see what the Year of the Fire Horse has in store for you. We're going to start with your oracles, which have been pre-selected, and we're going to get into the tarot to see your self-development, your love and relationships, and your career and finance. So we have the Knight of Cups, and we also have number 33, Arnica, teacher. We have number 32, freedom, key. Interesting that we have 33 and 32 in case those numbers or years, ages are important to you. We also have Ishtar, sensuality or sexuality here. And stop. Interesting. Stop came through in a previous pile, and it's a very similar meaning here, where you're taking a time to it's more contemplative, because I was getting the imagery of stopping at a stop sign and looking, when you're driving, stopping at a stop sign and looking every way before you continue driving, or if you're a pedestrian, like stopping at a stop sign and looking every which way before you go forward. So I'm getting something very similar here. Ironically, Year of the Fire Horse is a very go, go, go kind of year. It's going to be dramatic. It's going to be very like things progress forward. So here I'm getting a sense of freedom, but also learning because of your sense of freedom. It's kind of like when you're given so much of something that you kind of have to be your own guide, your own teacher. So you make it a point to take everything in slowly. And with sensuality here, I mean, for a lot of you, I do feel like there's going to be a very sensual glow up regardless. It could be a very spicy year for you as well, pile two, if that is applicable here. If not, I'm also seeing it as like a creative kind of energy, because think of the sacral chakra, which is, yes, where we create life, but also where we feel our creativity, as in creating things like art, creating anything. Because I was thinking art, but now I'm also seeing like creating a life for yourself, creating like companies, jobs. It's like producing stuff for the world. It's like, what can you give back, not just to yourself, but to the people around you? Because I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm getting this imagery. It's so weird. Or maybe not so weird, but I'm thinking of like a queen bee, how all she does, she's the queen, but she produces literally, she's just popping out babies all day. And I'm not saying that's what you're going to do here, pile two, unless you want to, unless that's your thing. But it's kind of like you keep creating for the world this year. You're going to be fueled and filled with a lot of inspiration to just be doing stuff for the people around you, but for you as well. I'm thinking of like a cook or a baker who's in the kitchen all day, just popping out food for everybody to eat. It's very mothering energy, very nurturing as well, which makes sense with the cups suit here, which is all about the emotions, but also how we nurture ourselves. But this is kind of like understanding where your limits are here as well with stop, teacher, and freedom. It's kind of like, once you've learned everything you can, you put those skills to use. And what do you do with them? What do you do with the knowledge that you've acquired here? You can either teach, or you can seek freedom, or create anything else that is coming through. For a lot of you, I do get a sense of a glow up, but I'm also getting, because we have Saturn here. Not sure if you can see. So this is kind of like doing things responsibly. Take that as you will, because I'm getting a sense of a lot of you, maybe you've been denying yourself a lot of like opportunities, or because with freedom here, I'm almost thinking of like, you have the capacity to do anything. You have the liberty to do anything, but you've been denying yourself something here. And maybe you're going to be asking yourself why that is, or it's going to be a year where you finally break free of the self-imposed chains that you've been given here, well, that you've given yourself here, pile two. And in what that particular theme in your life, that is, I guess we'll see in the tarot. But I am seeing you break free by acknowledging that you crave to do something here, that you're craving a new existence, or even like I'm hearing that the lyrics from the Beauty and the Beast from the song, I think it's called Belle. I want adventure in the great wide somewhere, something like that. It's kind of like she yearns for something more than what she has. So for a lot of you, that's what I'm getting. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to onto your tarot. And we're going to start with your self-development pile 2. So what does the Year of the Horse, Fire Horse, have in store for my pile 2? We got the 2 of Cups, and we have this is the Page of Wands reversed. Why does it say Fluxus Capacitor? Also, there's a butt here, which I didn't even notice. Okay. There's a lot of interesting imagery. There's also like a tiger and a sandshrew. Yeah, sandshrew. And I'm thinking of sandshrew, how it like turns into a little ball, because it's based off an armadillo. Kind of like you've been keeping yourself away. Specifically from people or connections who have been wanting to like be around you. Because the 2 of Cups makes me think that there's people out there who want to collaborate with you, or people who like would really like to get to know you. And I feel like you've been keeping yourself away with the Page of Wands reverse. It's kind of like a very polite no, or not interested, or I don't want to. But I feel like that could be something that you may be asking yourself, like why you do this. We have the Knight of Wands reversed. A lot of you have kind of been, I don't know if you're stifling yourself or if something else has been stifling you, but there's like this want and need for adventure, but it's almost like you keep yourself from going. Let me get another. If not adventure, it could be like something that calls to your soul. We also have, yeah, the Magician reversed. So I feel like you're going to find people or a person who breaks you out of your shell and allows you to really express your freedom, or express your desires, your wants, your emotions. Like there's something here about being set free by the people around you. Who this person is could be anybody. It could be a friend, lover, family member. Sometimes I'll even see it as like children. You know how like maybe you as a person, as a full grown adult with all your sovereignty, will never do something, but because you have a little child who wants you to do it, you may decide to go along with it. Like maybe you don't like theme parks and they're not your thing, but a little child wants you to go with them to the theme parks, and you're like, okay, we'll go, and you know, you have a great time. It's kind of like somebody, or I do feel like it's an individual, a very beautiful, bright individual comes through and helps you express parts of yourself that you've either been repressing or that you've been taught to repress by society at large. Because there's a sense within you, it's almost like you're unlocking a part of yourself that has been, I just keep getting a sense of stifled, because that's literally how I'm feeling when I tap into this energy. It's like being kept either small or away. And I'm sorry if you can hear my burps, but that's just the truth coming out. I don't like to be gross, but sometimes it happens. But that's how it feels like when you have a bodily reaction. I feel like it hurts more to keep it in than to release it. I'm sorry that I'm being so gross, but that's kind of like that's the example I'm being shown. So I do see in your self-development, you're going to really let something free, let something loose this year, pile 2. Let's go ahead and move on to your relationships. This could be romantic or friendships or familial. We have the Queen of Pentacles. Love it. We have the 5 of Swords. You're not going to make everybody happy. And I feel like you have to be okay with that. Especially for those of you who are very prone to people pleasing, or who are more... I get this a lot from people who want to make everybody happy. That's just not always possible, you know? And I feel like you learn to be okay with this. It's like someone's going to have to lose out, but that's okay. Another way of seeing this is that there could be a particular person, a very solid person in your life that maybe you've disappointed and you're aware of that. You have the 10 of Cups reversed. And the 7 of Swords. When it comes to, if it's not someone you've disappointed, it could be somebody disappointing you. Because what I'm seeing is that you're no longer putting up with people who only promise things but don't deliver. Who only say something but don't really feel it. I feel like you've been surrounded by some disingenuous kind of energy. And you being the solid person that you are, know that you deserve more than this, pile 2. That's coming through rather strongly. Because the Ten of Cups lets me know that things are not okay. You haven't been happy in a situation, or it has, if not unhappy, then it's been emotionally unfulfilling, or it hasn't been giving back to you as much as you can. And it's kind of like, in staying in a situation like that, all you're doing is hurting yourself. So I do feel like you move on from certain situations or people who the best they can offer you is like something half-hearted, and I feel like you don't want that anymore. It's like, would you lie to yourself about this being something that truly makes you happy, or would you rather just move on? This could be friends, of course. It could also be a relationship, or it could even be family. I feel like whatever the situation is here, because for some of you, for example, if this is family, maybe your family wants you around all the time, but every time you're around them, it's just like you feel drained, or you're not happy, or they don't seem to get you. And I'm sure they are well-intentioned, but if they're not what you need, then they're not what you need. Sometimes we grow in different directions than from the places that we came from, and that's okay. That's kind of why I'm getting a sense of disappointing, like a very like a feminine figure who's been there your whole life. Because I was going to say solid, stable, and reliable, but I don't know if they are solid, stable, and reliable. You would think, and that is heavily implied here with the Queen of Pentacles, but that doesn't always have to be the case. Because this Queen of Pentacles could also be you being solid, stable, and reliable, and people not showing up for you. So it's like, so why do you stay in a situation where you're not being given the same energy back, regardless of what that situation is? So I see that very strongly here for love and relationships. Let's move on to career. And you know what's interesting? I feel like because of whatever this is in love and relationships, this other person here, who doesn't even have to be like a long-term person, it's just somebody who like really takes an interest in you and in your heart, like opens up something within you that you felt you couldn't have with anybody else. Especially if what you were used to was very different, wildly different. That's how I feel like two very different energies here. Anyway, career and finances for my pile 2. We have the Hierophant reversed. So you're breaking out of the norm, or you're no longer doing something the quote traditional way, because it's time for something new. It's time for something different. You have the Ten of Pentacles, and this is going to bring you more stability. By breaking out of like a routine, or doing something in a different way, or even taking on a new challenge, or even just like dropping the notion that things have to be done a certain way in order to attain certain goals, you're going to find more stability, ironically. This is like everybody telling you that if you do things XYZ, then you'll get, you know, ABC. But then you find out things have to be QRS or whatever, and then it can be ABC. You're coming up with your own formulas, you're coming up with your own ideas, and this is going to be what the next new standard is in your life. It could be in work or in finances. So take it how it is, because things are no longer the same. For example, this would be like previous generations, like older generations giving you advice on how to build your wealth, when those ways of building wealth are no longer there. I know everybody has seen that at some point. So it's like, why would you take their advice when that advice has been null and void for the past decade or two? You know, you come up with your own way of building your wealth, and that's what stays with you. We also have the King of Wands reversed. Interesting. This is also letting go of control over something. And Three of Pentacles. Also, working by yourself might be better. This really does feel like a lot of you are going into your own business, or like you're starting your own business, or you're working for yourself, or you're doing something much more independent. Because with this King of Wands reverse, letting go of control, either you've had bosses who have been far too controlling over you that you don't even understand how much more prosperous and successful you would be if you were to leave that behind, or you're tired of taking control over everything that you need to release so you can finally enjoy your life and your fruits of your labor. Take whichever resonates more. I feel like you could be in either camp, depending on where you are in life. Because I could see older individuals wanting to let go of control, and I could see younger individuals wanting to regain control from the people who have taken it from them, or who have felt that they've never been able to have control. Regardless, I do feel like a big shakeup in your career and finances, but it's all for the better. Like, you needed this shakeup in order to create a better future for yourself. So anything wild and crazy happening in your career or with your money is for your benefit here. And then back of the deck, we have the Nine of Cups. Surprisingly, I know like some of these card positions and stories have been kind of like negative, but I feel like a lot of it is for your own benefit. It may not seem that way in the beginning, especially when it comes to love and relationships, but in cutting the cords to the people who drain you or the people who don't give back enough to you, you're going to find a lot more sense of self-worth. Because, I mean, think about it, sense of self-worth, where do we begin this from? From the people we stand around, from the people we choose to be around. And at some point, we do get to choose who we are around. So I feel like this Queen of Pentacles energy is looking and searching for her forever people, her forever dynamics. And it's going to be a big shakeup, especially those of you who are earth signs here, Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo. So with that said, let's move on to your final advice here, pile 2. Approach all differences with a lens of intrigue and a mind wide open to the infinite possibilities. A lot of you could be doing things that you've never really done before. Maybe you've never seen them in a certain way, so you may approach them with a different perspective, and you find out that you actually like it. If I told you the amount of times that I absolutely hated something that I then eventually embraced, you'd be surprised. Because tarot was one of them. Wanting to make a YouTube channel was one of them. Yogurt was one of them. I used to hate the taste of yogurt, and now I can't live without it. I have to have like 1 yogurt a day. I don't know if it's a phase or if it's something that's going to follow me for the rest of my life, but you know, that was the thing for me. I used to, there's a lot I could go into, but I don't want to give too much away. And trust your instinct. So I definitely feel like you're going to be trusting your intuition a lot more, especially those of you who don't really follow it. You're going to start following your intuition, your instinct. You're going to be trusting your gut, and it's going to lead you to good places. But this is where I leave it, pile 2. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. If you feel like doing so, you can like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next reading. Take care. Hello there, pile 3. If you chose the raw emerald or the Knight of Pentacles, then we have a reading here for you for what the year of the fire horse has in store for you. We're going to see what this year is going to bring for you. We're going to start with some oracles, and we're going to get into the tarot to see specifically what is going to happen in your personal development, in your love relationships, and in your career and finance. But we're going to start with the card you chose. First of all, I love this one because it's a horse. Yes, that's why I chose this deck, because it actually shows horses for the knights, because a knight rides the horse. But I love the little antlers here, these little moose or deer, caribou, whatever kind of horned animal is coming through here. I don't know, I thought that was cute. Maybe deer or moose or any of those kinds of animals. Elk, caribou could be of importance to you. I know they can be to me. So let's go ahead and get started with your oracles. We have Scorpion, Vigilance, number 8. We have number 20, Secure, Not. Ooh, an intensity already. We have Santa Muerte, Death. We have Demeter, Abundance. We also have Comfort, and number 8, Babinsana, Trust. Okay, strong earth energy for sure. I guess that's why you chose the earth knight out of all of them, right? Because even Emerald, it's tied to the Taurus season, or I guess May in general. But I associate that with Taurus season and a little bit of Gemini. Even Scorpio, which it's the opposite of Taurus. So strong Taurus energy is coming through, and that's giving me 2 things. One, there's something about solidifying something for sure in this year, but also a huge transformation. So I'm getting like a Taurus Scorpio opposition. The full moon of Taurus and the full moon of Scorpio this year could be of importance to you. Maybe some of you have both of those signs very strongly in your chart, but it gives a very strong opposition, but a transformative one, yet one that is comforting. I'm getting a sense of, I'm hearing that song by Bjork, who is also a Scorpio. Is it Bachelorette? I'm a path of cinders burning under your feet. You're the one who walks me, and I'm your one-way street. It's almost like you're being drawn to something that is going to change your life forever, and you're going to secure this. It almost feels like some of you could be coming in, like, for example, if we're talking about a romantic relationship, this would be like you're getting engaged or married, or you're locking into something very transformative. So this could be like a new life path. This could be like changing your life entirely by switching cities. Maybe you're changing up your lifestyle. You're doing a 180 regardless of whatever's going on. This year is transformative for you. It's intense, but it's good, because with comfort and trust, it's almost an abundance. It's almost like you're trusting that the universe is letting good things happen to you. But first, you kind of have to go through a little bit of the intensity. And what intensity could mean, I guess, will vary. I think some people see it as like really, like something difficult, but it's not. I'm not getting a sense of difficult. I'm just getting a sense of things being flipped completely around. Like, the imagery I'm getting is that, like, when you're in a bedroom or a house and you're moving around furniture and you think it's going to be difficult, and it might be, but at the end of the day, you still have all your stuff. Not only that, but maybe you move them in a way where you can have more space in your room, or you can move more easily, or maybe you have more access to certain things. So at first it's like, yes, you're going to feel some discomfort, but it's for the benefit of long-term comfort. So we're definitely focusing on long-term goals, on long-term success. There's something here that you're going to do that is going to be giving back to you in the long term. I'm also seeing stocks for some reason. This is like investing in a stock that's going to keep giving back to you somehow. That's just an imagery. That's an example. It doesn't necessarily have to be. But whatever's going on this year, you're locked in. Something here is committed. Something here is secured. And you just have to trust the process. Also, it's interesting that the number 8 came out twice, because we have it in both of these cards. So August could be an important month for you. Or some of you could be a life path 8, or the 8th of any month could be of importance. We also have 20. So August 20th could be important this year. Year of the Horse begins, I want to say February 17th. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll have the actual date in the intro, and maybe I'll post it in the description as well. But this is what I'm getting. And it's really interesting how we have such, like, even within the cards, you see like dark imagery and then light imagery. So we're living, or at least you're living. I say we because I feel like I'm going to experience some of this because I'm a full-blown Taurus, but I've got Pluto and Scorpio. It's a full-blown kind of reawakening, because Santa Muerte is death. And of course, in astrology, death is a transformation. It's a renewal. It's something ending so something can begin. And then we have Demeter, who is the mother of Persephone. And Persephone is the goddess of the underworld. So it's kind of like nurturing your transformation. If you give yourself enough space to nurture your transformation, whatever this is, I feel like things can go a lot more smoothly. Not only that, but you won't feel so it's like you will feel less shock. You know how, like, when you go from really warm to really cold, you kind of get a shock. It's giving that, but like you lessen it. For me, it's the opposite. For me, it's when you go from really cold to really hot that sometimes bothers me. But regardless, there's like easing something. It's like making space for the transformation, which is really interesting. And I know Demeter isn't really seen that way in the myth. In the myth, she's more like, grieving everything. But for some reason, I'm seeing this different version of her where, like, yes, things are changing, but she's making space for it. It's like, I don't know, I'm getting this example of like when your kids leave the house and suddenly there's an empty space, but you clean it, you keep it nice, and you leave that space there for whenever they need you, and I got very emotional saying that, which is funny because I've never had kids, but I have witnessed that, of course, in people I know. So I'm getting that strong transformational energy, specifically if you're an earth sign. And even if you're not an earth sign, you could be vibing with some earth sign energy. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, specifically this year, will be important. So let's get into the tarot. We're going to start with your personal growth and development. What does the year of the fire horse have in store for my pile 3? And whatever this transformation is, it doesn't even have to be that drastic. Like, for example, let's say you used to have a job where you would work at night, and now you have a job where you work in the morning or midday. For me, it's midday. Nights and mornings are easy. It's the midday. That is weird. Maybe you're also finding that what people consider to be opposite to you isn't really opposite. It's kind of like, when people say that the opposite of love is hate, and that's not true. They're actually very similar. The opposite of hate or love is indifference. So I'm kind of getting you understanding what opposite truly means, or at the very least to you. All right, so your personal development, we have the Six of Cups. We have nostalgia here. Regret is sometimes unavoidable. It's funny because every single pile so far has been coming up with some sort of nostalgic kind of feeling, which is odd because I don't typically associate Year of the Horse with nostalgia. Year of the Horse is very independent. Yes, they can be very much into their family. They can be family people for sure. But for whatever reason, nostalgia is hitting hard this year for a lot of people. And I don't think that's a traditional trait for a fire horse. Correct me if I'm wrong, those of you who know more about lunar Eastern Chinese astrology than I do. We also have 10 of Cups. You're definitely focusing on your emotional happiness, comparing what used to make you happy to what makes you happy now. Also, childhood happiness is coming through. Not childhood wounds so much, though that can be part of the process. I feel like whatever made you happy in childhood is making you happy now. So nostalgia is hitting you really hard this year. Also, family or childhood friends or both if you are friends with your cousins or even siblings, I guess. Like if your siblings and cousins are part of the friend group, I feel like this is especially for you. We have the Queen of Wands. Wow. I'm getting, you know how some people look really, really good in like nostalgic fashion? Like, you know how some people can pull off that pinup queen from the 1950s really well? That's coming through. So some of you could go back to a particular decade and find that style of clothing really suits you, and you may decide to dress up inspired that way. Because I just watched Cardi B's performance on SNL of Bodega Baddie, and she's like done up in this like traditional Dominican dress, just looking, first of all, that woman always slays. I love her so much. But it's specifically more like 90s influence, because I remember like the hairstyle she wore, I don't know what it's called, but like the blowout, and it's to me it was very nostalgic of like watching Hispanic television in the 90s. So oh, I'm getting that. Okay, and the Three of Pentacles. You're going to be networking a lot with the people that you know and love. It's like if you have family that you can work with, you might decide to work with them, or you could build and create something, specifically something that's going to inspire, it could be fashion, because I can associate like the Queen of Wands with like high fashion, but it could also be the way things are perceived or the way the world is seen. For those of you who are, for example, like in a band, like a musical group, I feel like this is especially true because I see a lot of family members be part of musical groups. So this could be something that you're interested in or that you develop. If you're already a part of that, then this is just confirmation for you. But it's a great year for a lot of, I'm getting more inspiration. Like inspiration from the past is going to be big this year for a lot of you in the creative field. Especially my artists, especially those who, if you create any type of art, it's going to be influenced by the past, but in a good way, because the past is going to help us heal somehow. Ooh, I love this energy. Whatever this is, I'm here for it. Pile 3, if you like to share, please let me know in the comments what it is that you do. Because I feel like some of you already know this and you're planning it, but you're wondering if it's the right move. And all I can hear is yes. Yes, if the past is calling you, it's for a reason. Don't be afraid of it. Not saying that you're going to revert to things from your past if that's what you're thinking. No, it's more like be inspired by the good things from your past, because the Six of Cups can be like all the things that made you into, it's like your childhood happiness. It's like what made you happy as a child. That's what made you the person you are now, or it can make you into the person that you want to be. And it's funny that I'm using the Pokemon card inspired tarot deck, because for me, that's what it is. In fact, the creator of this deck could probably say that as well, because I think they're also my age and grew up with this. But anyway, also, I'm just realizing all the Pokemon here are like the big sturdy ones. We got like Blastoise, Rhydon, and Kangaskhan? Is that her name? The one with the baby, the one with the little baby in it. Okay, anyway. Relationships, romantic, platonic, or any other kind. What's happening in relationships for my pile 3? Okay, so we have the Knight of Wands reverse. Sorry, not Knight of Wands. Knight of Swords reverse. It says riot, love, risk of repute. Some of you are deciding to keep the peace. Or it's almost like you're battling whether you want to say what you want to say or not. especially for those of you who are typically more outspoken. I feel like this year you're kind of battling it for whatever reason. Specifically with the people around you, with the people that are closest to you. Oh, okay. Excuse me, my gosh. Okay, communication is going to be a big thing this year. Because we have the 7 of Cups reversed, you have the Moon, we have the 6 of Wands reversed, and we have the Star reversed. Okay. You're afraid of saying what you need to say because you don't know how people are going to take it. The Star reverse is like a hopelessness, but it's like, do you want to share this or do you not want to share this? Because a lot of you feel like you have no options. This is especially true in terms of like your romantic relationships. Some of you feel like you don't know how to say what you need to say. And interesting, we have take the risk reversed. We have, what does this one say? Protect pleasure, never hurts to try, reversed. It's almost like a lot of you are afraid of taking risks when it comes to love and romance this year. I'm hearing specifically that. It could also be with friendships, but I feel like the risks are not as high in friendships. In love, I feel like it is. Especially because the only card that is up right here is the Moon. So you could be very introspective about what it is that you want in and out of relationships. It's like you need to figure yourself out in order to figure out what you want in love and romance. However, I'm also getting, look at Mimikyu here. Mimikyu dresses up like Pikachu because he thinks he's ugly and doesn't want people to dislike him. So he dresses up as the most popular, or one of the most popular Pokemon. That's what it's giving. The advice coming through, of course, is to be yourself. To be yourself. It's going to be a year where it's very easy to not be yourself. However, make it a point to do so. Because I feel like a lot of you could be used to the flash, I'm hearing all flash, no substance. And maybe some of you got used to that, you know, like putting on a persona, or maybe not having to reveal your most vulnerable self, especially those of you who have been single for a long time. It can be scary to let people know about you or to show them the real you. It's like, well, what would they do if they saw the real me? Would they be weirded out? I feel like a lot of you are keeping to yourselves, and I keep hearing that you're at war with yourself with what it is that you should and shouldn't do when it comes to relationships. Because we have the 6 of Wands reversed, we have the Star reversed. It's almost like you feel hopeless, and that kind of breaks my heart, pile 3, because you feel like you have no options. You do have options. Not only that, but like, how will you know what you want until you try it out? Not everything is set in stone, especially those of you who are very earth dominant. You may feel like you have to like commit to something for a long time. You don't. That was my biggest thing with relationships. I had a hard time committing because I thought I'd be stuck with it forever. But the truth is, as long as you're honest and upfront at the beginning about what it is that you're looking for in a relationship, I feel like things can be fine. You know, I've always told my partners, like, I'm open to whatever happens. Not because I don't mean to not stay, but because if things should change, then they're going to change. And if at any point it changes, you have to have that discussion. I feel like relationships, it's not all or nothing, you know. I feel like you have to keep coming back to check in to see where you guys are. I forget where I saw this. I think it was a TV show or something where like there was two people in a relationship, and every year on their quote anniversary or around that time, they would come back and, you know, speak with each other about what it is that they still wanted. It's like, hey, do we still want this? How do we feel? Do we want to continue this? And I feel like that's a very mature and realistic thing to do, because you never know how people change. Sometimes we change with them, sometimes we don't, and that's okay. Like, all of it is okay. I don't know where I'm trying to get with this, but I feel like sometimes we make too big a deal about love and relationships when the truth is, like, everything is a beautiful thread in the fabric of who we are and our experience. And if you want commitment right away, then okay, then go find someone who will give you that. But if you don't, if you want to see where it pans out, then also be upfront and honest about that. Just be honest. In fact, the Moon is here because I feel like there's been either a fear or a lack of honesty in your life, either from other people, possibly from yourself, pile 3. So with that said, let's move on to your career and finances. You have the Fool. Don't regret your past mistakes. I keep hearing that. Do not regret your past mistakes. The Fool is facing towards the past because some of you feel like you've made very dumb mistakes in your finances or in your career, or both. We have the recklessness, reversed. Do be careful with your choices though this year. Do be careful with how you spend your money or what it is. I'm getting more finances than anything here for this particular pile. Because I feel like you have a lot of regrets and you kind of wonder, well, can I bounce back again this time? Especially those of you who are prone to things like risk-taking, gambling, etc. I'm not here to condone that at all. However, if you already have had that kind of situation in your life, I do urge you to look back. It could also be like spending or overspending. For those of you who, like, for example, go on vacation and you tend to spend more because you're like, oh, it's a once in a lifetime and, you know, I'm never going to do this again. I'll never find this again. It's kind of giving that. Or even like overspending or spending on like the wrong things. We have the Lovers reversed and the Sun reversed. So when it comes to, for a lot of you, you really do care about your family, your friends, and your inner circle because they keep popping up in every single category. So it's a blessing to have that, to have people who care about you, to have your community, and to have your family, friends, and loved ones around you. Pile 3. But when it comes to your finances, 1, I feel like you should always involve your partner, or it doesn't hurt to ask for a second opinion on whether you should spend money on something or not, whether you should buy something or not. Me personally, I love to ask the people I know who are experts at certain things, hey, is this a good buy? What would you recommend? What is this? You know, especially bigger purchases. For example, if you're ever wondering if it's... maybe I'm the wrong person. I manifest things. I manifest sales. I manifest coupons. I manifest like finding the perfect thing on discount in a clearance bin at my favorite store. I do that on the regular. Have always done it. I'm always going to be that person who finds like the very last thing in my specific size and in my favorite color for a great price. I don't know how I do it, but it's a blessing. That it's my one superpower. I don't know why that needed to come through. Some of you could learn to do that if you're ever feeling in a pinch. It's like, where can I find, you know, this amazing wool coat for under $50? And then you happen to pop into a thrift store and you find it and it's in pretty good condition. Maybe it's missing a button, but you'll take it if it's under, you know, $25, you know, something like that. So I'm getting something. Maybe some of you need to learn how to manifest little things like that because the universe will pull through for that. Something bigger like a house and a car, it might take a little bit more time. However, I have seen it happen. With your finances anyway. The Sun, I feel like a lot of you could definitely benefit from getting people involved in your spending so they can kind of monitor you. I don't like saying that, but if you know your problems are that bad, don't be afraid. Well, 1, you could also ask a financial advisor if that's something that is within your realm. You don't have to, of course, if it's not, but if you want to ask, for example, for those of you who have like really good friends or partners, you're like, hey, do you mind helping me budget? Don't be afraid to ask, especially for those people that you know are good with their finances. I've always been that person. I love to help people budget. Like I'm always good at that. And not only that, but I'm great at like I said, great at finding things that are meant. I feel like a lot of you are being asked to manifest. I feel like that's why I'm being told to explain my process. Because the Sun here lets me know that a lot of you have lost confidence in your finances, or like the ability to create it or to be able to afford something. And I'm feeling this in the solar plexus especially because the Sun can be tied to the solar plexus, which is where we create our abundance, our power, as well as our ability to really provide for ourselves and others. And I think it's no coincidence that it's also in the region where we digest, you know, our ability to nourish, to provide for our bodies. So I feel like for a lot of you, you could be focusing on the solar plexus this year, or really strengthening that, because I keep pausing, like I keep feeling like a punch to the gut, which is really interesting, which may feel like a little bit of a lack of abundance here. So this is a great year to start doing some solar plexus healing. If you don't go by the traditional 7 or whatever, however many number of chakra system, you could also just look to the chakras within your stomach, because I'm feeling that there, and maybe also the sacral or that region, and just a little bit in the throat to be able to manifest it into being, which is really interesting. I don't know why I got so specifically into the chakras here. Maybe some of you work with that, but also the color gold is coming through. Again, no surprise because it's the Pentacles dominant, the Earth dominant pile. Back of the deck, we have the devil. I like it. Any bad habits that you have are ending this year. They are ending. They are ending because they are costing you too much, whether it's time, money, energy, whatever. Whatever has been costing you too much, you're stopping that. Not just in finances, but in every area of your life. So your personal development is going to be great. You're going to be surrounded by something amazing and nostalgic that is going to revive you. When it comes to love, don't overthink it so much. Understand that things can be taken one step at a time. And in finances, don't be afraid to call, again, a good partner. For those of you who already have a romantic partner that you know is good with finances, it might be a time to listen to them more so than usual. And if that means that they get to control your credit cards, so be it. They're doing it because they love you. And if you can trust them with it, of course, if you can trust them with it. But that was very specific, but I like it. I like it here. So especially if you, I swear, every relationship has that person who spends too much and the person who saves a lot. And I've been both in different cases, so take it as it resonates. Let's go ahead and get your final cards, though, pile 3. For my pile 3, closing advice for Year of the Horse, Fire Horse. We have, you will never regret self-respect. Oh, I love it. You will never regret self-respect. Anything that's costing you your self-respect is far too expensive, let it go. Anything that is not allowing you to respect yourself, it's time to release it. Doesn't matter what or who it is. Time to release it. The minute you feel disrespected somewhere, it's time to let it go. That was very specific and that was very to the point. And we have what you see in others exists in you. And I feel like that can be a double-edged sword because whatever you focus on the most in people could be something that is, it's like the universe trying to tell you something about yourself. This is both good because if you see the beauty in somebody, it means that there's something beautiful in you. But if it's something that you particularly see in people that bothers you, and I'm not talking about things like, it's whatever you over-fixate in certain people. Because I used to have people, friends, just who would always complain about certain things in certain people that we both knew. However, I never saw the person that they were complaining about in that particular way because I saw them in a different way. But they would see something else. And I'm like, for example, and this actually happens quite a bit from many people I know. I would have people complain about somebody being very controlling. And then I would sit there and think, well, you're also controlling. I didn't say it to them at the time just because I felt like they were just venting and I didn't want to play therapist to them. But it's kind of things like that. Like whatever you overfixate on people, especially jealousy. I forget where I learned this from, but sometimes the things that we are jealous of in other people are really things that we are capable of within ourselves that we refuse to follow for whatever reason because there's blocks from us pursuing that. So if, let's say I'm going to use this as an example, and it's going to sound catty, but this is how jealousy is. Honestly, jealousy can be pretty catty. Let's say you see a girl and you hate her because she's got like this really long, amazing hair, and you're just like, oh, whatever. Long hair is stupid anyway. Maybe there's a part of you inside you that really, really wants to have long hair. What's keeping you from having that? And of course, sometimes it's actual reasons, like maybe you have, I don't know. Take it how it resonates. I know there are actual reasons why we couldn't have long hair, and I'm not trying to what's the word? I'm not trying to put you down for that. But sometimes what we find jealous in certain people, it's just us wanting that. And that's okay. It's okay to acknowledge that you want that. In fact, when you're honest with yourself that you want something, sometimes that will come through for you. I used to hate girls who wore makeup because I thought they were being fake. But the truth is, I just wanted to learn how to do nice makeup so that I can look better. And now I can do makeup pretty well. I don't always do it, but now knowing that I can do it and that I can have it and it makes me look the way I want to enhance my features, I no longer criticize girls who wear too much makeup. That's just an example coming through. And of course, that was like a very young version of me, like teens me, maybe even 20s, early 20s. I'm trying to think of something else, but I would watch your jealousy, because jealousy is not us. It's just a signal to ourselves of what it is that we secretly want but refuse to go after. But this is where I leave it, pile 3. This one has been very strong. Like the energy in this one, ooh, you're very connected to spirit, and I love it here. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. If you feel like doing so, you can like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next reading. Take care. Hello there, pile 4. If you chose the Knight of Wands and this red calcite, then we have a reading here for you for the year of the Fire Horse. We're going to see what the year of the Fire Horse has in store for you. We're going to start with your oracles, and we're going to move on to the tarot. And in the tarot, we'll see your personal development, your love relationships, and your financial / career for the year of the horse. So we're going to start with the pre-selected oracles. You got the Knight of Wands. So already there's a lot of action, a lot of doing. You might have a really exciting kind of year for sure. We have isolation. We have the Morrigan, righteous anger. We have new moon, beginnings. And milk thistle, 23, peaceful warrior. Interesting. So I do feel like you'll be having a bit of a year where you take on certain things on your own because you want to, or because you feel like no one can measure up to you. So that said, it's going to be very exciting because I'm getting like think Aries energy, where they're very independent, but they're always off on an adventure on their own. But that's not to say that you won't have people along the way. It just feels like whatever you're doing, you feel like you don't want to get other people involved, or you may just feel like I don't know, I guess it depends. Either you can't find people you resonate with or who kind of vibe with you on the things that you want to accomplish or do, or you just don't feel like convincing somebody of your plans, whatever those plans are. So I just feel like whatever this is, you're okay doing things by yourself. For a lot of you, this could be a year one, so a personal year one, or you could be a life path one. But I'm getting a very strong sense that whatever is going on this year, you're trying to make a difference in your life, in the lives of others. You're gathering all this. It's weird. It says righteous anger, but I don't think anger is the right word. Or maybe it is, but your anger comes off as very, very calm, which I know sounds odd, but I've been told that before. I have Mars in Pisces, so I don't know if that affects it, but I've been told before by somebody, the first time they saw me angry, they're like, oh wow, you get angry, but you don't like explode. You're just kind of, soft and simmering in your anger, which I thought was really interesting, at least from that person, or at least at that time. I don't know if that's changed, but that's the kind of anger I'm seeing, where your anger is silent and it's not really detected. You could have a really great poker face, at least this year, if not previously before. I feel like people don't seem to know where you're going or what your intent is. And I can easily see why people would want to almost villainize it, because the way the Morrigan is drawn here, she kind of looks like a classic Disney villain. I'm not even very familiar with her myths, so if you would like to enlighten me in the comments, you can. But what I'm getting from this just intuitively, it could be seen as a villain arc, because think of like, we've had a lot of like movies and retellings of fairy tales where we start seeing the villain side of the story. And the only reason we even saw them as a villain to begin with was because they were the antagonists. They were the opposing perspective to the protagonist. So I'm kind of seeing a little bit of that here, where people may not understand what you're doing, so they may try to say that you are, crazy, the villain, that you don't know what you're doing. But here it's like, no, you do. And you don't feel the need to convince people of why you feel the way you do, or why you view things the way you do. Therefore, you might be going at it alone. Or you could just decide to not involve people in that particular cause. And I do feel like this will take up a good portion of this year. I don't feel like it's going to be the entire year, but it is like your main overarching theme or story. But Peaceful Warrior lets me know that this isn't going to be something explosive or weird. It's just going to be something that you decide to do on your own. Yeah, I like this energy, because new beginnings, it's like you want a fresh start. You need something new. And whatever this newness is going to come in this form in a way that people are really not going to understand. This would be like one day you wake up and you decide to move to some other part of the globe, and people are like, but why? And you're like, I don't know, I'm just feeling called to it. The amount of times I've done something just because I felt called to it and not because I have any reasonable excuse is kind of crazy. But, I get that similar feeling. So yeah, I'm getting Aries energy, but also Pisces, specifically late Pisces, like on the Pisces Aries cusp. Because I have two positions in that, and I can understand this energy. But yeah, the actions you want to take, you may have to take alone, or you may have to just not worry about who comes along with it. That said, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be alone. I can't stress that enough. It just feels like it's like a hero's journey, and along the way you meet certain people that some may stay with you on the journey, some may come and go. It's kind of that. So I hope that made sense. Let's move on to your tarot. Let's start with your personal development for my pile 4. Let me opening up to the Magician right away. And the King of Wands. You're taking back control for sure. And I feel like for a lot of you, that could be a main theme this year as well, is like what you can control, what you can't control. You can control yourself, but you can't control others. So, pile 4. We have the King of Swords. Do not let discomfort determine how you make your decisions. Ooh, I love that. King of Swords. You have the Ten of Cups. I do feel like I feel like you've always been a little bit different in the way you think, or even in the way that you rationalize things here, pile 4. And it's not even that you're different. It's more like, you know, when some people are very logical and rational to the point that people see them as weird for thinking that way, because in certain societies, cultures, places, group of people, in certain groups of people, thinking rationally and logically doesn't always come very easily. Does that make sense? And of course, no offense to any particular group here. It's just when a particular society is so used to thinking in one particular way, anybody thinking outside of that seems odd. I'm going to show an example. Like, it used to be very normal for people to get married and have kids right away in their 20s, you know, not even a few decades ago. And I think it still is in certain places. But when you use the logic, it's like, I would rather settle down with somebody that I share my ideals with, and then have children once I have the financial assets for it, or once I have, you know, the amount of experience I want. That's more logical and rational, but that wasn't always accepted. You know, people having kids in their 30s and 40s wasn't always accepted. And maybe in some places it still is considered odd, but it's like, what makes you happy is going to be whatever makes sense to you, or whatever makes sense for your life, whatever makes sense for you. And this year, you're definitely embracing that more so than usual. I think a lot of you already do, but here it's coming through as you holding off on something. It's a delayed gratification. It's like you're holding off on something so that you can be truly happy. It's like you would rather wait a little bit longer to get what you truly want than take a very than make that brash decision and regret it later. Which is ironic because you did choose the Knight of Wands, and I feel like the Knight of Wands would make a brash decision out of all the knights. Maybe you're a recovering Knight of Wands. We have the Chariot reversed. Yeah, because this is like you've been trying to do something, but you realize that you haven't really been thinking it through. And because the universe really wants you to think things through, it's not going to let you go forward with something until you have thought out something that makes more sense to you. Not what makes sense to everybody else, not what makes sense to your friends, family, partner, whomever, whatever makes sense to you. Only then will the universe reverse this Chariot back to upright and let you go forward. Which I know seems odd, but I feel like this is something that you worked out with the universe prior to even existing. It's like, hey, universe, don't ever let me choose something that is not going to be for my highest good and for my very best until I make sure that it's exactly what I want, even if I'm being quote, quote, impatient, even if I'm being, I don't know, desperate. It's like you made this pact with the universe or God or your angels or your guides, whomever it is that you look up to look down to you, to guide you where you need to go. It's like, hey, don't ever let me choose something that I will regret later. And I feel like you're understanding that. It's kind of like you're very, I almost said severely protected, but you're very divinely protected. Maybe both. Maybe you're severely divinely protected. And that's a good thing. So if something isn't working out, it's because it's a no-go until something makes sense to you, or until that thing is complete, or until that thing is in the right state, mindset, etc. It's like nothing will progress until everything is in order. Almost strictly so. Because why would you want to start something until it's right for you? I was going to say perfect, but perfection is an illusion. So until it is right for you. And yeah, Six of Cups. Regret is sometimes unavoidable, and you want to avoid regret. Like, I feel like you're realistic enough to understand that not all regret is going to be avoidable. You will have certain regrets. I feel like that's how we learn. But it's like, how can I go forward with the least amount of regret possible, is what I'm hearing. So your personal development is you acknowledging that you may not always get what you want because it's not ready for you, or it may not be something you actually truly want, 2, 3, 4, 10 years down the line. So that's what's coming through. Another example is like, you want a partner, you want your soulmate, your spouse, your ideal spouse. You only want to get married once. You only want to have kids with one person. It's kind of like you tell the universe, I don't want any more half-hearted anything. I don't want any more situationships, flings, people who are going to ghost, etc. So it's got to be perfect. So the universe will not even bring in people or let you stay around people who are only going to give you that. It's like, oh yeah, you're attracted to them and you have good chemistry and you like them. Well, guess what? It's not going to happen because you wanted your forever future partner to be someone who's going to settle down with you. This person will not settle down with you 3 years down the line. So we're going to keep them out of your life, and you're going to get somebody who is going to give you that. It's that kind of situation. I just felt the need to give that particular example because I think most people will resonate with that. Speaking of, let's move on to love and relationships. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. This could also be friendships. Pile 4. We have the Emperor reversed. We have Judgment. You're gonna be, okay, there's a few ways I can take this. Let me get the rest of the cards. We have the Two of Swords. And the Tower. The Tower. Wait, is this Death or the Tower? No, this is Death. Okay. I say Tower because it's the Pokemon Tower, but the Pokemon Tower in the first gen was it was a cemetery for Pokemon, which is why it's the Death card here. So, first of all, your love life is going to change dramatically this year, for good. Mostly for good. It may not seem that way at first, but mostly for good. If you're in a relationship right now where you didn't make a sound judgment either in the beginning or somewhere down the line in that relationship, it's going to come to an end because you cannot build anything on a flaky foundation. That's just a message some of you need to hear, but that's only if you're already in a relationship that isn't working out. That's not going to be all of you either. If you're in a relationship and you're happy, this isn't for you. This is for those friends who are in flaky relationships and they're just kind of delusional about it. This is for them, not for you. 2, if you are single, I feel like you're going to be, it's the let them theory. Well, is it the let them theory? You're just letting people do what they want to do and seeing how that's going to affect you. So let's say you meet somebody and they say that they like you, that they want to take you out, that they're going to do X, Y, Z. You're not even going to argue it. You're not even going to hold on to that thought. You're just going to see who shows up for you. Because the Emperor reversed and Judgment reversed, it's almost like you've put too much hopes and dreams into people before. So now it's like those hopes and dreams you're not even bothering with. You're just taking what they said. It's like, okay, and seeing how it pans out. It's very much how do you say it? A detached way of seeing relationships, either detached or you're being very neutral. You're being neutral and you're seeing what happens. Because the Two of Swords is like, you're not fighting this. You're not even going to argue. You're just seeing what happens. And it's not that you've completely given up on relationships. I just feel like you've given up on the pursuit, or you've given up on wanting anything. You've given up on even making judgments about a person at first. You're just seeing who shows up. And because you let it go, things will either end or transform. Things will either end or transform. So, and I see this a lot. Like, once you stop doing the arguing and caring, not because you stopped arguing and caring, you're just letting things happen as they should. Let me explain this. This is very much romantic coded, but it could also be applied to friends, I guess, like letting friends do whatever they want and seeing who shows up and who does what. But yeah, it's like you just let them, let's say you have a person that you've been dating and they do something that is not okay. You may say something about it, but you're not going to push it. It's like maybe they were late like really late to a meeting or a date or whatever, and you even pointed out, it's like, hey, you were an hour and a half late to this. Let's just reschedule. And that's a very logical thing to say. And then, of course, they apologize, and then they say something. But then the next day, you don't say anything about it. And maybe they're still apologizing. And the next day, and it's just like, you become very low effort when it comes to pursuing relationships. And the irony of that is that it's going to make everything shift and change. So either people are going to step up because you've become quote, quote, less interested, or on the outside less interested, or two, they're also going to fall away because they're just like, oh, okay, whatever. And I feel like it could go either way. If you're dating multiple people, you will see who steps up and who doesn't. But I'm seeing you let go of the want, need, and control in relationships in general. Maybe you really are busy with other things and this is why you have to do that. Or maybe you're just kind of like, whatever, if love is here, then great. If not, then let me move on with my life. It feels like it's, because I don't want to make it seem that you're giving up. You're not. You're not giving up. You're just like not putting effort or care or want or need into love and relationships. You still very much want it. It's still very much there. But you're not bothering with arguing with people who aren't even committed to you, or arguing for anything. I feel like you're just, I keep hearing laissez-faire, which means let them do whatever, right? In French, I think that's the literal translation. Let them do, I think is what it means. I took French for so long and I'm so bad at it. I'll never understand it. But yeah, in fact, speaking languages is very similar. When you try really hard to remember like every conjugation and every adjective, adverb, when you try really hard to speak the way you naturally speak in your native language in another language, it's going to be difficult because you're not at that level yet. But when you speak a different language in a way that you understand, like, you know, it's primitive and you know you only know a few words, but you use those words to their full extent, you're going to get a point across much better. I say this because when I went to Italy, I probably knew like 3 Italian phrases that were not the obvious. And I was received very well. You know, I would just say, excuse me, everywhere I went because there was people everywhere, and people would say prego. And I was like, oh, what does that mean? And, you know, I learned as I went. And I didn't have to, you know, make a big old deal about it. It's just like, well, that's the little Italian I know. Let me use it. And when that didn't work, I would revert to Spanish because... And I would just ask, can you speak in Spanish or English? Because those are my languages. And a lot of them speak Spanish. Anyway, it's like, work with what you got. Like, you can't ask the world of someone you just met because they're not your forever partner yet. Nor do you know if you want them to be. Okay, so that's my thing on love and relationships. Let me move on. Because I could go on and on. Okay, finances and career for my pile 4. We have the 3 of Swords. Ooh, I like it. Reversed. 3 of Swords reversed. And what does this say? Does it say Mercurial? It does. Mercurial. Protection against Mercurial? Okay, that fell out. The Hanged Man. I want to say this is reversed, but not really. I think it's weird to have Hanged Man reversed because every deck tries to make their Hanged Man reverse. And I'm like, you can only reverse Uno a card so much before it just doesn't make any sense. All right, and these 2. We have Queen of Cups reversed and Knight of Wands reversed. Less impulse buys. You're no longer buying based off how you feel. And this keeps popping up in certain readings. Like, I don't know who in my viewership, not to call you out and you don't have to say it, who you are, but some of you like to spend depending on how you feel. And I kind of get it because I know I'll buy much more junk food if I'm not feeling great. Like, I'll buy more chocolate, more snacks if I'm more stressed. So that's one way of seeing it. But for some of you, it could go beyond that. Maybe when you feel bad, you decide to splurge on a nice dress or a pair of shoes or, you know, whatever. The way our emotions are tied to our spending is big here. And this year, you're no longer letting that happen because I feel like you're finally seeing this. Or with the Hangman, you're recognizing that it's kind of silly to spend money when you're not feeling well. Like when you're angry or when you're upset or when you're feeling insecure. I think especially for those of you who already have issues with something else in your life, your spending patterns may reflect that. So let's say you're feeling like, quote, quote, really ugly one day. You're not pile 4, but this might just be how you're feeling. You decide to spend a little bit extra on cosmetics. So you buy like the really bougie stuff. It's like, oh, well, this is going to fix my face and I'm going to feel pretty. And I feel like you really have to question that. Like, why are you spending on how you feel? Another way of seeing this is like escapist tendencies. And let's say whenever you feel a certain way, you decide to go out with your friends and spend a little extra at the bar. It's kind of giving that. Watch where you are feeling. Watch how you are feeling when you're spending. There's a connection there. Just like how we tend to eat our emotions, I feel like for this particular group, you could spend your emotions and you're finally catching that. With the Three of Swords reverse, it's like you're finally recognizing how and why it is. I think when we're less happy, we buy more. And when we're happier, we don't need as much. And I feel like that definitely applies here. This is more finances and career. In terms of career, same thing. I feel like we're more willing to escape into our work when we're not feeling great. We're willing to take on longer hours, stay away from our friends and family, or even our own solitude. So we take on more work. Like we see that a lot, right? Workaholics. I mean, sometimes it is ambition. Don't get me wrong. I feel like sometimes being a workaholic can just mean that you want to get ahead. But even then, if it's not that you have to pay off something really bad and you're just wanting to stay at work because you want to, I would ask yourself why that is. It's like, why are you afraid of being alone with the people that are closest to you or even with your own self? So that's coming through here when it comes to your finances and career. Pay attention to how you're feeling. Ooh, I like this pile. Lots of transformative inner work for sure. Very introspective as well. So let's get your final cards for the year of the horse. Fire horse. Pile 4. May today be the day that you can fully embrace yourself and allow others to experience the beauty of your uniqueness. Exactly. We were talking about that in the beginning. I feel like by you embracing those very unique and original aspects of yourself, people will also embrace that. I feel like people will celebrate it as well. Like not just celebrate it, but even admire it. And you could inspire somebody to do things that they never thought they could do. Oh, you got 2 more. We've got observe without absorbing. Observe without absorbing. Especially my empaths. Observe and don't absorb. Especially when it came to the relationship sector, which could also apply to friendships. You can observe and listen a friend out, but you don't have to take on their problems. Their problems are theirs, and sometimes you just want somebody to listen to them. Sometimes you just want somebody to, you know, to vent to or to like talk things out with. And then we have reconsider your expectations. Again, especially when it comes to love or even anything else in life. Like whatever it is that you want, you're going to get, but it's going to have to be perfect. It's going to have to be, well, not perfect, but you know, it's going to have to be exactly what you need at the time that you need it. It's not going to be just something that you want out of a whim, because the universe wouldn't just spoil you like that. It can spoil you in other ways, but it's not going to give you something that they know in the long run is not going to be good for you. But this is where I leave it, my beautiful pile 4. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. If you feel like doing so, you can like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next reading. Take care.